The Vow of Her Wizard King, written by Ruby Faisal. Leaving his kingdom unprotected, he persuaded to woo the girl who conquered his heart. Narrated by Claire Louise Warby and Rory Acton Burnell. Produced by Load Studio.
Prologue. Alistair, POV. King Alistair, the Council of Elders has requested your presence to appear before the court for your neglecting of duty as the king. The Dark Witches have attacked the Obsidian terrain, and due to your absence, major damage is inflicted upon the villagers. You are to leave Earth, erasing your existence, and come tend the kingdom. You are also hereby banded to visit the other dimensions and realm until the war is put to the end. The verdict will take effect from the Blue Moon Day. This is the decision of the Council, and failing to obey will lead to severe consequences. The Elder Council of White Wizard. The fire message from my realm floated in front of me. I cursed as I crumpled the letter, the flames burning my palms a little. I fell in my seat, tired and frustrated. The blue moon is tonight. Why can't they give me the time to at least settle the business here? This is just messed up. My phone rang, and I immediately answered without looking at the caller ID.
Hey, Al. I'm downstairs.
The voice I never get tired of said, as an involuntary smile made way to my face. I will be down in a minute, my queen, I said before ending the call. I quickly put on my coat, informed my boss, and walked into the elevator. I can't believe the Dark Witch has the nerve to attack my kingdom. I had everything under my control. In a week, I would get married to my love through the human tradition. That night, I will disclose my secret and take her to Obsidian. There, I will mark her as my queen, which will ultimately lead to my happily ever after. But now... My apology. Let me introduce myself. I am Alistair Regmore, the king of Obsidian Terrain, the land of White Wizard. I am said to be the powerful king ever to born in existence. My power is feared by every magic being, and no one has dared to mess with me. I came to Earth for the purpose of studying their culture, but I fell in love. I fell in love with a stubborn, fierce, yet kind-hearted girl. "Ariana!" I shouted as she turned and gave me a full-blown smile.
Allie!
She shouted and jumped, hugging me. I spun her as she laughed. "You look beautiful as always, my queen," I said as she blushed. "Do you have part-time today?" I asked, to which she shook her head.
I don't. It's Monday, remember?
She said as I nodded. "All right, so you spent the whole damn day with me," I said, kissing her neck as she giggled.
It's a date then.
Time skipped to night. We lay in the bed, tangled in the sheet after a passionate night. Her head was on my chest, a position she proclaims she loves because she can hear my heartbeat. She was playing with my fingers, humming lightly, and I tried to cherish this time. The Blue Moon Peak is in a few hours, and I will have to leave her. I don't know how long I have to go, but I'm afraid. I have to erase her memories of me. I'm afraid she will move on. What if when I return years after, she has already fallen in love with another? What if they married, had children? Tears threatened to fill my eyes, but I blinked away. No, if that happens, I should be happy for her. It will be my fault that she will fall in love with another.
Did I mention I love your fingers?
She said, gaining my attention. I chuckled as I held her hand, her light brown eyes meeting my blue ones. "Many a time, my queen," I said, but she frowned.
You look sad.
She frowned, and I sighed her amazing observation. Nothing can go unnoticed by this woman. But I only smiled and kissed her forehead. "Nothing to worry about," I said, as she nodded, although not believing a single word. "I'm just tired. Shall we sleep?" I said as she laughed and nodded.
Shall? I will never get used to your way of speaking,
she said, and I laughed as well. She always found my English funny. She says it reminds her of Shakespeare as it contains proper court Old English. I kissed her head once again and held her tight as she closed her eyes. An hour passes by, and now her breathing was calm, showing that she is sound asleep. I slowly untangled myself and got out of bed. I searched my coat pocket and found the jewelry containing a necklace. It was a heart locket that could not be opened. Inside was carved hers and my name. Outside was the word mine, beautifully imprinted. I put the necklace around her neck and stroked her short, light brown hair. "I love you, my queen. I promise I will come back for you," I whispered in her ear and kissed her cheek. I then kissed her soft lips, my lips lingering there for a few moments, savoring her taste, before standing up. I raised my hand in the air and called forth my powers as my eyes glowed. Blue light danced around my fingers as my power filled the room and started to travel out. "I command everyone and everything I encounter to forget me. Let the moments spent with me cease to exist," I said as my voice grew strong and rough. I chanted my divine spell, and the power flowing from me multiplied before a wave of energy flew from my body and spread to the whole of the earth. I looked down at my love, all curled up and hugging the pillow which once had my scent. "I am so sorry I'm leaving you like this. Be safe, my love. I will forever love you," I said, before disappearing from the face of the earth dimension.
Chapter 1. Ariana POV. 7 years later. "Noah Milo Davis!" I shouted angrily as my 6-year-old froze. He turned and looked at me, scratching the back of his neck. "I'll give you 5 minutes to clean your toys and meet me in your bedroom," I said sternly as his eyes wide. He swiftly cleaned his toys, then ran to the room with me trailing behind. Entering the room, I saw him sit at the end of the bed, showing me his adorable, innocent face. I rolled my eyes and crossed my hand over my chest. "That face of yours is not going to get you out of trouble, mister," I said, my face void. He sighed, and tears started to fill his eyes, making me roll my eyes again. "Neither will your fake tears," I said as he huffed. I swear, for a 6-year-old, this boy is too damn smart. "Why did your babysitter call me and quit her job? What did you do this time?" I asked, frustrated. "She was bad, Mommy," he said as I huffed. "Just like all the other ones who came?" I said as he nodded his head quickly. "They're all bad," he said, making me sigh. "Noah, we can't keep changing your nannies," I said as I sat next to him. He climbed onto my lap and hugged me tightly. "But I don't want a nanny. I want my mommy," he said as his voice started to quiver. "Baby boy," I said as I raised his head to look at me. I wiped away the tears that stained his beautiful dark blue eyes. "I'm sorry Mommy spends less time with you, but I have to work. And I should work to keep buying my favorite baby boy presents," I said, smiling at him. "But Mommy," he started, but I shushed him. "How about tomorrow we go to the park? We will spend the whole day together, just you and me," I said, kissing his forehead. He kissed my cheek and smiled brightly, all excited. "Yay, the park!" he shouted happily as I laughed. After making him dinner, I put him to sleep before going to my room through the door that connects our room. I sighed as fell flat on the bed, tired of all the event that took place. I grabbed hold of the necklace that lay around my neck and raised it in the air. "Mine" was what was written in the locket. I opened the locket and ran my hands through the writing. Alistair was written on one side, and Ariana on the other. The middle had a heart carved in it. And just like always, a warm and strange feeling fills my heart, making all my worries go away. 7 years ago, I woke up alone in this big house. I had no idea how and why I was here, but I felt a strange attachment to this place. Like it holds many memories, many emotions. The house was surprisingly named after me, along with $1 million deposit of bank money. I haven't touched the bank money, well, except for the time when I was pregnant. But I stayed at this house. Somehow, I couldn't let this place go. A week after this happened, I started getting nausea and tired. I ignored it and started working as a fashion designer in a small company. During my work, I fainted and was taken to the hospital, only to know that I am 1 month old pregnant. After that, life was hard. I don't know who the father is, but I have the gut feeling that it is this Alistair guy. But I couldn't remember an Alistair in my life. I even asked my friends and ones I know, but they too were blank. Being an orphan, I was alone living in this big house. I, myself, tend to my craving, decorated my baby's room, and lived through the contraction pains. I couldn't work at that period because no one was ready to accept a pregnant woman. So I was forced to use the money in the bank. But once my baby boy was born, once I met with his beautiful, mystical, dark blue eyes, all my loneliness and pain washed away and a new form of determination rose. Determination to work hard and raise my child healthy with anything he desires. For a year, I opened a small boutique displaying my handmade designs. One day, I caught the eyes of Mrs. Juliana Flair, the CEO of Red River Allure, the most popular and uprising clothing company. After 2 years, I started to work as their model, because she found potential in me to be one. Ever since then, my life was easy with my earning, but that also meant less time with my baby. I sighed at that thought. I have to make up to him for this. Next day. So rock-a-bye, baby, rock-a-bye. I'm going to rock you. Rock-a-bye, baby, don't you cry. We both sang out loud, ignoring the stares from the car next to us. The signal turned green as I turned to the left. My phone started to ring and I parked my car to the side and turned the radio off. "Mommy!" my son shouted, annoyed as I gave him an apologetic smile. "Hello, Mrs. Juliana," I answered to my boss. I sighed as she said the exact words I dreaded to hear.
I'm sorry, but the dresses for the next shoot have come. They need you to try it on so they can confirm the size today itself. Please come in fast.
She said as I said an okay and ended the call. I nervously looked at my son, who stared at me with an angry expression. "You promised," he said, his voice quivering a little. "I'm so sorry, baby. It's just a 1-hour visit. We can just drop in my company quickly and then go to the park. I promise your favorite cake, too," I said as he nodded, although he was still glaring. I started my car and made my way to the company, my eyes contently moving to him. I put on the radio and started to sing, hoping he would join in, but it was silent. I turned it off and sighed. "Mommy is really sorry for this," I said, but he was still silent. "Noah," I said, looking at him, and failed to notice the signal turn red. A series of horns were heard before I saw an SUV run straight towards me. I turned my car, trying to dodge it, but was hit hard from my side by a truck. "Mommy!" I heard him scream as I grabbed his hand and pulled him close, hoping to shield him. I felt the glass pieces cut through my body as the car flipped before falling on the ground. My vision starts to blur, and I could hear my baby crying for me. "The car is going to explode," I heard a man's muffled voice. I kissed my crying child's forehead before I welcomed darkness into my eyes. But before I closed my eyes, I saw us being engulfed in blue light that formed a sense of warmth, which was strangely familiar.